Okay, we're going to move on to step 4, where we configure WordPress and we'll install WordPress plugins. So let's go ahead and configure the WordPress settings. Now before we can do that, we have to log into WordPress by typing in the following URL in the web address pane. So what we'll need to do is let's go ahead and open up our browser, and we'll need to type in the following URL address. In the case of this video, it's www.smallbizdemo.com/wp-admin/ and then we'll need to hit enter. So we'll go ahead and do that, and that's going to bring us to the WordPress sign-in screen, and it's here where you'll need to put in your username and your password and then click the login button. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll put in our username, then we'll put in our password, and then we'll click the login screen. And once we click the login screen, we'll be taken to the WordPress dashboard. So okay, we are at the WordPress dashboard, and just a little bit of background information about the WordPress dashboard. The dashboard is composed of the left sidebar, and then several sections to the right. For now, and some of the stuff to the right would be like the WordPress status screen. There's a section that deals with comments. There's a section called Right Now where you can click on the different links and it'll take you directly to certain sections. There's even a section called Quick Press to the right where you can actually launch a post or write an article just by typing it in that section right there. But for now, we want to focus on the left side or the left sidebar. Now on the left sidebar, there's several modules, and let's do this. Let's do a quick rundown of the primary modules. We've got your post module, you've got media module, you have a section called pages, comments, appearance, plugins, users, tools, and settings. To learn more about the WordPress sidebar and each module, you can refer to my WordPress admin article and video, which should be posted on the screen. And if it's not on the screen, it will definitely be at the bottom of the video. For now, we need to make a few changes to WordPress, and to do this, we need to go into the WordPress setting module. Now within the setting module, there are 6 submenus, and they are as follows. So let's go ahead and click on settings so that we can see them, so that they're highlighted. We have the general submenu, we have the writing submenu, we have reading, we have discussion, we have media, and we have permalinks. Now we're not going to have to change all of the settings for each submenu, but there are a few that we're going to need to change right now, and we're going to go ahead and click on settings, and let's have it bring up the general settings, and that's the very first one. This particular one is where you would change the site title here. If you choose to do so, you can add a tagline, and what you can also do is you can change the time zone, which is right here. And we're not going to do anything with site title and tagline, but if you were building your own WordPress, you would this is where you would put in your name. In fact, let's go ahead and do it. So we'll go ahead, and that's going to be the title of our website. Tagline is right now it says just another WordPress site. What we'll go ahead and do is we'll call it our small business website. We'll do our easy to build small business website. So we've updated our site title and our tagline. We don't need to change the WordPress address URL or the site address URL. We don't need to change our email address. We want to make sure that anyone can register, or anyone that wants to sign up to sign up to our blog, they can register. We won't change any of this stuff. We will come to the time zone, and we're in the Chicago area, so I'm going to type in Chicago, and I'm going to select that, and that pre-selects the Chicago time zone. If we wanted to change the date format, we could do that, but for the sake of this this video, in this example, we don't need to do that. And then the time format we will leave as such as well. And the week starts on Monday. You could change that to Sunday, or you could change that to whatever you want it to. We'll just leave it at the default setting, which is Monday. And then we'll go ahead and click Save Changes. You always want to save all of your changes. And now we'll move down to the Writing submenu. Now, we're not going to make any changes here, but I wanted you to take a look, at least take a look at what it looks like. Now, if you have, as I said before, I would refer to my admin video and then my admin article. It's going to give you more detail and more background about all these submenus. So that's what the Writing submenu looks like. And let's go ahead now and move down and click on Reading. And for Reading, we're going to, if we were going to build a basic website, and we were going to just have a home page instead of just a blog, we would click on a static a static page link, and we would set it to whatever front page we would want. Right now we don't have any pages built. We'll do that later on in the video. But if we wanted to make the sample page our home page, we would just select it. For now, we're just going to leave that as, we're going to just leave it back to your latest post. And now one thing I do want to come down to is it says blog pages to show at most. To show 10 blog posts, if you're writing 10 actual articles, is a lot to display on one page, and it will slow the page load time down. And usually if the page load time is slow, you tend to lose visitors. So we're going to actually change this to 3. So I would, if you were doing a blog, you would change it to 3. We're not going to change the syndication amount. We're not going to change where it says for each article in a feed we'll continue to show full text. We're okay with that. Now this section, this one is really important. It's called search engine visibility, and what that basically means is that if you were to check this box right here, it says discourage search engines from indexing the site. That would basically prevent the site from being found on Google, or that would prevent the search engines such as Google or Bing or Yahoo from what's called crawling or indexing the site, which would basically mean that if someone didn't know the site website address and they were trying to search for your product or your service for your business, they would not find it. So you want to leave this unchecked. You always want to leave this unchecked. And so we're going to go ahead and save those changes. And then we'll move on to the discussion section. And we're going to make only one change here. We'll leave everything else the same. But for discussion, we want to change where it says before a comment appears. We want to select that box, which basically says before a comment appears, comments must be manually approved, which basically means that if you're using this as a blog, before a comment can actually appear on your site, you want to see it and you want to approve it. And you want to do that because that will prevent comment spammers from leaving comments, which will give them links to your site, which is only going to cause a problem for you for Google and other search engines. So we'll go ahead and we check that box, and we'll come down and we won't make any other changes. We'll save these. Let's go ahead and do that. So we've saved that change, and we're going to go down to the media section. To the media submenu, and we're going to leave this as such. We won't make any changes here. As I said before, refer to my video and my article about WordPress admin, and it will give you more background and more information. So we don't have to save anything here because we didn't do anything. Now we're going to come down to the last submenu under settings, and that's called permalinks. We'll select that, and for permalinks, we're going to change the common settings to post name. Right now the default setting for post name is this layout right here. Normally it would be the one above that, and that's an odd URL, and sometimes search engines have problems with those. This is the default. We're going to change this to the common setting that says post name. and this is going to display our URL or our website address in such a way that it will normally mirror what we put in our title pane or our title section. And then we're going to click Save. We're going to save those changes, and we've just configured our basic settings for the dashboard. Now the next step, or the next part of this particular step, step number 4, we're going to step through the process of installing what are called WordPress plugins. We'll get started with that in a second. Okay, now we're going to install our plugins. Give me a quick second and let me bring up a screen. Now, plugins are basically add-on programs that can be installed in WordPress. And what they do is they give the site more functionality. If you want to, if you choose to, you can check out my WordPress help page for more detailed explanations or more information regarding WordPress plugins. And the URL is right here. I'll go ahead and highlight that for you so you can see that. So you can go to this location right here and you'll find several articles and several videos about just WordPress in general, but there'll also be, I know there's definitely a video on how to install plugins that's a little bit more detailed than what we're going to go into here today. But in any case, these are a list of the plugins that we're going to install today, and I'll call these kind of a set of core plugins that you're going to want to install at the very least. And what we're going to do is I'm going to switch between these two views, this notepad view with the info in it and our WordPress setup, to kind of take a look, and we're going to install each one of the plugins I have listed here today. This first one, Ask-A-Met, nowadays comes pre-installed with your WordPress installation, so we won't have to do that, but we'll need to install what's called Contact Form 7, WP Touch, and backup WordPress. But let's go ahead and let's go to our plugins section, and we do that by coming to our sidebar, and we can just click plugins right here, or we can just click install plugins. Either one of these will take you to the install plugins section, but we'll go ahead and click on install plugins. That will take us to our plugin section. As you can see, there are 3 plugins that are already pre-installed when we loaded WordPress. That first one is Ask-A-Met, and Ask-A-Met is basically just a plugin that will help prevent comments by spammers, and it will kind of help weed out those spammers who will try to leave comments on your website. And there is 2 others that we won't even deal with today. They're not activated, neither is the Ask-A-Met plugin, but we won't have to deal with those today, and we won't even deal with those in the video at all. So the next thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and install the other 3 plugins, and once we've installed them, we'll come back and we'll configure each one. The first one we're going to go ahead and do, since Ask-A-Met is already there, is we're going to install what's called Contact Form 7, which allows your site to easily create contact forms for customer feedback. And after that, we'll do WP Touch. But let's go ahead and let's click on Add New. We'll go to Plugins section. We'll go to the sub menu that says Add New. We can click right here, or we can simply click Add New up here at the top. Either one, doesn't matter. We'll click on Add New up here. In the search box, we'll type in the plugin that we're looking for, Contact Form 7, and we'll click Search Plugins. And just for the record, there are tens of thousands of plugins that you can choose from. The ones that we're talking about here are pretty much what I would kind of call core plugins. Now there's some other core plugins, but at the very least, you're going to want to install these. So here's the plugin called Contact Form 7. I'm going to click on the details section, and that's going to bring up a pop-up box, and that pop-up box is going to give and provide a little bit more background information on what this plugin does. Sometimes you'll see a warning, this plugin has not been tested with your current version of WordPress. It's just a warning. This is a pretty new version of WordPress that we're using, and a lot of the plugins may not have been tested, but I've yet to every once in a while, I suppose, I've installed a plugin and there have been problems. I rarely have problems with the core plugins. In fact, I don't have an incident that I can recall that I had a problem with a core plugin. So this will provide description information. You can come over here to where it says screenshot at the top. I can click on the screenshots tab, and it will kind of give you an idea of what the plugin looks like when you're trying to configure it. So we're going to go ahead and install that. And what's beautiful about WordPress is when it does bring up the pop-up with the information about a plugin, you don't have to close this down to install it. You can simply come to your right and click on Install Now. So we're going to click on Install Now, and WordPress will install this plugin for us. Okay. We're not going to activate the plugin. We're done with the installation, but we're going to return to the plugin installer, or the plugin search page, we call it that. The next plugin that we want to install is called WP Touch. And WP Touch is a plugin that will optimize your website for smart/mobile phones. One of the things with mobile phones and tablets is simply that the screen size is nowhere near the screen size on a monitor, and this will help to optimize your website so that it shows better on a cell phone or on a tablet. So let's go ahead and search for it. I'll type WP Touch in, and we'll go ahead and click Search Plugins. And what we're looking for is called WP Touch Mobile Plugin. We'll look at the details on that one just so you can see it. There's our warning. This is a newer version of WordPress. We'll be okay. This will provide a little bit of background information about the plugin. As you can see, you can also look and you can see the number of times that this plugin has been downloaded or installed, and it's well over 4 million times. So it's a pretty popular plugin. And we'll go ahead and take a screenshot. Take a look at the screenshot tab, and that will show you what the plugin will, how the plugin will render your website on a mobile phone. And it does a pretty good job, and it takes the site and makes it more mobile friendly. Now when we talk about installing what's called WordPress themes, you'll find that some of the themes that we may use or that you're able to use will already come with what's called a mobile friendly version of your website installed. But for the sake of this, we're going to go ahead and assume that that is not the case for the WordPress theme that we're going to use. So let's go ahead and go back to the description section, and let's go ahead and we will click Install to install this plugin. This one's taking a little longer, and there we go. We won't activate it. We'll just return to the plugin installer or the plugin search section. And the last plugin that we'll install is called Backup WordPress. And this will back up your entire site, including your database and all of your supporting files automatically. It's a really cool plugin, and it makes the whole backup process so easy. There are a lot of plugins that are out there, and all they do is back up the WordPress database. But if you had a problem with your website and you lost that, you would have to reconfigure a lot of that stuff. So this will back up everything, and I've got a couple of really great videos on how to back up your WordPress setup using this plugin, as well as how to restore it as well, and you might want to check those out on my admin page. So let's go ahead and search for that plugin and install it. There's our Backup WordPress plugin. You'll notice there are other plugins that get shown as well, and it just gives you a list to choose from based upon the information you put in. But there are probably hundreds of different backup programs, and these are all free. There are also some paid plugins that work fantastic. And once you have gotten better at WordPress and you think you have a need to use one of those tools or one of those products, then you're certainly free to do so. We'll go ahead and click on details so we can see the details about this particular plugin. As you can see, it's also been downloaded almost 1 million times, and we'll take a look at the screenshot tab so you can see what it looks like. I love this particular plugin. I use it a lot. I've got a couple of videos on it. And we'll go back to description. You don't have to go back to description. I just do that so you can just take a look at the description screen one last time. Then we'll click on install for this plugin. Okay, we will, instead of clicking on either of these two links, we'll just go back and click on the installed plugin, so it'll take us back to the section that shows us all the plugins that we have installed. So we've installed our core plugins, and the next step, the next sub-step within step 4 is we are going to activate and configure the 4 plugins that we've talked about, and we'll do that in a moment. Okay, let's go ahead and activate our plugins. The first one that we're going to activate is Estimate, and it's a 2-step process. The first thing we'll need to do is we'll need to click the activate link here. Let's click that. And before we can fully or truly take advantage of this plugin, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to get or create what's called an Estimate API key. That API key is going to allow us to, we've activated the plugin, it's going to allow us to take advantage of the Estimate spam or spam catching service. So the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go ahead and activate our account. Now you can click right here, but I wouldn't, because it's going to take you off page. What I'd much rather you do is that you go ahead and you right click here, and that you open up the an additional browser window, and that's going to take you to the Estimate sign up site. And here you're going to put in your email address, then you'll click the tab key and go down the username, and it will automatically generate a username for you. Now if I'm correct, once you sign in, you'll be able to change that username, or change, well, I know you'll at least be able to change your email address. Then you'll create a password and you'll click sign up. Now one thing you're going to notice, I'm not going to do it in this example, is that when you click on sign up, you're going to get an error message, or you're going to get something that says there was some sort of error. You're getting that because before you can actually get into the service, or before you can completely sign up, you'll need to activate your email address. And what will happen is you'll get a email address, and the email address will look something like this, and it will basically say welcome to WordPress.com, because what basically is happening is when you sign up, you're actually creating a WordPress.com login. And what you'll need to do now is you'll need to click activate account. We'll go ahead and click that, and that's going to open up another window, just a message saying, hey, thanks for confirming your email address, and then click the sign in to Estimate. Well, in fact, we won't even click that. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and click sign in to Estimate. So we'll go ahead and click that, and that's going to bring us to the Estimate homepage. And don't click this yet. You don't want to click get a WordPress key. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click sign in, and when you click sign in, it will allow you to get into the system to get your key. So let's go ahead and click sign in. Now here you can put in your email address or your username, and we'll put in our password, and we'll click sign in. And when you first sign in, since we've not created a subscription, we're going to get this message which basically says thanks for logging in. We don't have an Estimate subscription, and it's going to prompt us to go ahead and to sign up. And to sign up, we'll just click this link below which says sign up for one now. So we'll go ahead and click that, and it's going to bring us to a menu which is going to allow us to select one of 4 different plans. There's I'll start with the one at the bottom. There's a high volume plan, which is a $100 a month plan, which would be for probably like a data center or just a gigantic website. There's also an enterprise plan. There's a professional plan, which is $5 a month, which comes to about $60 a year. And then there's a personal plan, which carries a value or carries a cost of $0 to $120 per year. And with that personal non-commercial sites and blogs plan, you'd have access to unlimited sites. What we're going to do, just to show you what the sign up screen looks like, we're going to go ahead and click sign up for the personal plan. We'll click sign up, and what it's going to do is it's just going to bring you to a page that will allow you to put in your contact info, any kind of payment detail, and then you would continue. But one of the things that's interesting here is that you have the ability, remember it mentioned that the cost was $0 to $120 a year. Using this slider, you have the ability to set whatever price you want, and believe it or not, you could actually pay nothing. Put in your first name and your last name and click continue. One thing you notice is that when you slid the slider to 0, the smiley face became a sad face. Now if we were to take this slider and slide it all the way over to $120 a year, you will notice that there is a large smile here. I am not going to tell you what to pay, nor am I going to tell you what plan to select. I will just say that the plan value for personal is $0 to $120 a year, and if I'm correct, there actually is, from what I know, no way of knowing what plan you have. As I said before, you'll have to make a decision of what plan you want to choose. If you want to change plans while you're here, you simply just click on the change plan link and it's going to take you back out. You'll have to make that decision for yourself. What will happen is you'll get the API key, and once you get that API key, you'll be able to plug that API key into your Ask-Commit plugin to activate it. I'm going to pause for a second. We're going to go back to the original plugin screen, and we're going to put in our API key. I'm going to put in my API key just so you can see what it looks like and how it works. I'm going to pause for a second here. Okay, let's go ahead and fully activate Ask-Commit. I've had an opportunity to copy my API key. You would click on Settings. I already have a key, so I'll click on the link that says I already have a key. And I would place my Ask-Commit key right here, and then I would click Save Changes. So we'll go ahead and paste it in so that you can see that. We'll click Save Changes, and you will see that we have successfully activated our Ask-Commit key, and there's the key. There are some other settings. It says auto delete spam submitted on post more than 4 months old. We're going to go ahead and select that. We don't really care to know the number of comments that we've approved for each comment author. There's the server status that says that it's available. There's the network status, which is showing that they're all accessible. And that's basically all you need to do to activate the Ask-Commit key. The next one we're going to do is we're going to do Contact Form 7. Okay, we're back on the plugins page. The next plugin that we are going to activate is called Contact Form 7. Now, Contact Form 7 will allow us to create a web page on our site or on our blog that will serve as a contact page or contact form. And a user will be able to put in their personal information, not their personal information, but will be able to put in their contact information, their email address. They'll be able to ask a question, and they will be able to submit or send that, and we will actually receive that in the form of an email. So let's go ahead and activate that plugin. We'll click Activate. Once the plugin has been activated, we will see a settings link just below the plugin name. We'll go ahead and click on Settings. And what it will do is it will actually create what's called a contact form shortcode. Now, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to just verify that the settings are okay within that first contact form or contact form shortcode. You just want to look at it, and I also want you to see what it looks like. So here's the form. What you're looking at is what the form looks like behind the scenes using what's called HTML. You'll see that there is a mail to email address, which would be your email address. This is just kind of what it looks like there. If you go to their actual plugin site, they will actually show you how to make new forms, how to make changes to this, but for the sake of this video and this example, we are going to leave the default setup in place. And what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and click save, even though we hadn't made any changes, just so we can get back to the main screen. It looks like here, let's go ahead and get back to the main screen by simply going to the installed plugin page. We'll do that. Okay, so now let's go back into settings. The way this would work is once you had created your page, you'd be able to take this shortcode, which is really beautiful about this plugin. You'd be able to copy this shortcode and you could paste this into a page, and when you pasted it into a page, what would happen is that it would actually show a sign-up form, and that sign-up form could be used for a user or a visitor to contact you. Later on in the video, in the process, when we begin to create pages for the website, we will actually go through the step or the process of creating a contact form. But for now, we're going to move on to the next plugin. And the next plugin we're going to want to configure is called WP Touch, and we'll configure that in a moment. But let's first go ahead and get back to install plugins. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and configure the WP Touch mobile plugin. We'll click Activate to activate the plugin. Okay, the plugin has been activated. The next step is to change some settings. Okay, we're on the settings page. One thing you will notice is that there is also a WP Touch Pro, which is a more advanced and a more feature-rich feature-rich version of this plugin. It's not free, but it will give you the ability to take advantage of even more features. Just to take a quick look around this plugin, you'll notice that there are several sections. One is the general settings section. And one of the things that it will allow you to do, if you chose to do so, is you could hard code the language that, depending on the region that you're in. We're just going to leave this on the default setting, which is automatically detect. There's some share information that you can fill in, which will just send some information back to the creator of this plugin, just so they are aware of what versions are out there being used. This is probably display their logo or their name, and that's basically just probably for branding. Here, homepage redirection. This is just saying, hey, whatever settings I have set in WordPress, use those settings. Site title will just allow you to put in the name of your website or change it to whatever you would want. Can't imagine why you would change it. If you wanted to exclude certain categories within your blog or on your website, on your WordPress website, you could do just that. And there's some other information. I just wanted you to see all of the sections that can be changed, or all the things that can be changed within this plugin. We're going to leave everything in the default setting. Just going to scroll down a little bit. You can even change colors. If you did Google AdSense and you were a Google AdSense subscriber, you could put in that information. So if someone, that way you could serve Google ads, and if someone clicked on it, you'd make additional revenue, and also a series of icons that the plugin uses. And if you did make any changes to any of the info here, for the sake of this video, we're not going to do that. And what I would also suggest is, before you tried or attempted to make any change, that you visited the plugin, the plugin page or the owner's page, and fully reviewed and made sure that you fully understood what you were changing. But if you did make changes, once you made those changes, you would simply click the Save Options button, and those options would be changed. If you ran into a problem, one thing you could do is you could restore back to the default settings. So basically, we have set our WP Touch plugin. As I mentioned earlier, that plugin allows our website to display better on mobile phones and tablets. And we're going to go ahead and go back to the plugins main page, and the next plugin that we're going to configure in our last plugin is called Backup WordPress. Okay, let's go ahead and activate our last plugin, Backup WordPress. Let's click Activate. We've activated the plugin. Now what we want to do now is we want to configure the settings for backup. And there are two ways that we can do that. We can simply click on Backups right here on the right below the Backup WordPress plugin, or we can go to Tools and we can go over to the sub menus and we can click on Backup. Well, since we're there right now, let's go ahead and click that one. Now this is the Manage Backup screen. The one thing I love about this particular plugin is that it not only allows you to back up your WordPress database, but it allows you to back up your program files as well. So it really truly is a full backup. So let's go ahead and configure this. What I'm going to do is we're just going to run our first backup right off the top just by clicking Run Now. And one of the reasons I do that, if we were to click on this Settings link and we try to configure this plugin for backups, one of the glitches that I've noticed, or one of the issues I've noticed, is that for some reason it will not allow you to come back to this screen, or for some reason it will not allow you to get back to the installed plugins menu. And so normally what I like to do is I like to run the backup first, and then for some reason that seems to resolve that glitch. So let's go ahead and click Run Now. And there's not much data here. As you can see, our backup is only 613 kilobyte, which is a small backup. So let's go ahead and click Run Now. And this won't run very long at all. So we're done. There's our first backup. There's the date and time. There's the size. We could download this to our computers or to a flash drive, and if we wanted to get rid of it, we would just click Delete. Now if we want to change the settings, we can click in the settings, we can click on the settings link, and we should get a pop-up box. And there's our pop-up box. The beautiful thing about this plugin, as I mentioned before, is that you can just do the database. You can do both database and program files, or you can just do files only. We'll go ahead and select both database and files. That way, if something were to happen to your WordPress website or install, not only would you be able to restore the database, but all of the files as well. You have the ability to run this, run a backup daily. Heck, you can even run it hourly. You can run it weekly, you can run it fortnightly, which is every 2 weeks, or you can run it monthly. For this example, we're just going to click monthly, and you can change the number of backups to store on the server. Now, depending on what hosting service you're using, there is a specific place within your install that these backups will be installed, and I'm going to suggest that you you talk to your hosting company, or that you refer to the documentation that goes along the documentation that's on the creator of this plugin, their website. But we're going to change this to just 3 for now, and we're going to also add our email address, because another beautiful thing about this plugin is that when a backup does run, if it's less than 10 megabyte, it will actually email a copy of the backup to you, which is pretty cool. We've changed our settings. We'll click Update. Okay, and now we're back on the Manage Backup screen. As you can see, our settings have been changed, and basically we've set up that plugin. Let's go ahead and go back to the Install Plugins page. We've configured all of our plugins. The next step, and on the next video we will begin to create our WordPress website, and we're going to discuss what's called WordPress themes, or basically how we can utilize just thousands of different websites, or just select thousands of different websites to use as a website when we're using WordPress by using what's called WordPress themes. And we'll get started with that in a moment.